Hello and welcome to this short video. This is in addition to the workshop, the step sequencing workshop I've given. And in this video I'm going to demonstrate how you can create a very simple sequence, or actually two sequences, with the things that we've learned and then program them into the Volca keys. I'm going to do it in the key of A minor. And I'm going to use the A minor chord and the D minor chord to make my sequences with. I'm also going to use the supertonics, so I'm going to use the D minor chord, but also the supertonic, which is the second note from the D. So those are the notes I'm going to use, and I'm also using A minor, of course, same thing again. So those are the notes I'm going to use in my sequence. I'm also going to integrate the bass line in the sequence. So it's going to be a monophonic sequence, and I'm going to program the bass line in it too at the same time, so that we don't need to have separate sequences for it, one for bass and one for the rest. So it's an integral bass line. Now the first thing what I'm going to do, this sequencer you can only record in real time. So the trick is, if you are a beginner, that is a bit tricky to do that, neatly. So the thing I do is I slow down the sequencer all the way down. I choose tempo 1/4 of the original. That way I can much more easily keep up with it and punch the notes in at the right time. That gives me a little bit more room to maneuver. I'm also going to switch on the metronome, and now when I start playing the sequence you hear the metronome, and you hear that it bleeps on every beat. You can also hear that it bleeps high on the first of group of four steps, and that is the beat. Right? So now the first thing I want to do is create a little bit of a nice sound, and I will start with the D. But I want it nice and deep, because I want to put the bass. I want a simple D on each beat of the sequence. So that's what I'm going to do. Not each step, but each beat. So there's going to be a bass, and then 3 more steps, and then the next bass note, and then 3 more steps, and then the next bass note. So I can practice that, of course. Something like that. So let's punch that in, and the way I do that is I hit the record button, then the first D I play is the first beat, and then I just need to put in 3 more like this. There you go, now it's recorded. Now please make sure that when you record these steps is that you just tap it. Don't hold the tone too long, because otherwise you are creating a tie between steps, and we don't want that. We just want only that note on that step. The rest we're going to fill in later. Okay, now that we have the bass line going, I want to add some of the rest. So I'm going to turn my octave up. By the way, I do everything in unison here. I don't think I've already said that, but I'll turn my my voice mode to unison or octave, but not in polyphonic mode. And the next thing I'm now going to do is I'm going to turn the octave up a bit, so that I can now play these notes into the sequence. So again, first I'm going to practice to see what I want. So I'll go to start. And because I go so slow, I have a lot of time to make sure that I hit the notes at the right time. You also notice that I don't hit a note where there is a bass, because if you do that, you overwrite the bass, and that's the last thing we want to do. So we're not going to overwrite the bass. So now that I've practiced, I can then start programming it. So I'll wait till it is going round once. You see the lead going round, and then when it starts there again, I'll start playing along. There you go, I've recorded it. And I'll switch off the record button so that I don't accidentally mess it up. So that's it. That's the sequence now programmed. And that's all the notes I want. So I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to speed up the sequence. So I'm going to double the speed. I still want a bit down tempo, so I'm not going really fast. So I double the speed by putting the tempo to half. And I'm going to play the sequence again. Oh, and I'm going to switch the metronome off. I don't need that anymore. I've recorded all the notes. So here we go. That sounds quite nice. Okay, now that I've got that, I would like to add a little bit of delay. I love delay, especially if you have a nice kind of plucky sound like this. You can add some really lovely delay effects. So I'm going to turn up the delay. And I've very precisely tuned the delay to be in tune with the steps. See, if I turn the timing, now it's off. A bit too fast. Now it's spot on. Oh, hit the camera there. Okay, so now I've got my delay going. It starts to sound really interesting, but I'm still not satisfied. I now want to really beef this sound a little bit up with some motion sequencing. So we'll start with just tweaking the sound till it sounds the way I like it. Add a bit of detune. Oh, that's lovely. Nice and fat. And let's motion sequence the cutoff of the filter. Something like that. Now to do that, I need to switch on my motion sequencing. So I'll switch that on, and on the Volca Keys I always switch it on and go to smooth. Then the changes of the knobs is more smoothly. So let's go for it. Practice once more. And when we are happy, we hit the record button. And you see the record button automatically stops once you have done a full sequence. And now you can see that my cutoff is automatically sequenced. Now I want to do the same with the decay. I want something like this. Lovely. Now I'm happy with that sequence now. What I now go and do is I'm going to save it, because obviously I don't want to lose my work. So I do memory write, and then I'll put it in bank 1. But I'm also going to put it in bank 2. And the reason for that is because I want to make a second sequence using a different chord, in this case the A minor chord. But I don't want to build it from scratch. I want to keep some of the settings. In fact, I want to keep all the motion sequencing. So I've now number 2 selected, so that sounds now exactly as before. But what I'm going to do is I'm now going to remove the notes, but I keep the motion sequencing, and all I do is I just basically do erase all, and if you do that it will remember the motion sequencing. So now then, for the A sequence I need to go back first, slow the sequencer down. I'm going to temporarily switch off motion sequencing because I don't want to have that interfere with me. I'm going to switch on the metronome again, and I should be ready, and it should be no notes. Nope, it's empty. So now I need to pick a nice A. That's too high. That's good. So here we go. So that is the bass recorded. Now and then I need to turn the octave up again a wee bitty, and then I'm going to add So I practice that a few times and then we can record it. So I'll wait till the sequencer back to the start. Now I'll listen through that, see if that worked. Perfect. Now if I now switch the motion sequencing back on and I speed the whole thing up, I will switch the metronome off. Perfect. Same sequence but now in A minor instead of D minor. Don't forget though, and this is super important, to save it back to number 2, because if I switch back to number 1, it's forgotten everything and I'm back to square one on bank 2. So bank 2 now contains A chord sequence and bank 1 the D chord sequence. So now I'm ready to go and play some music. I select the first bank and I'll start my sequence, and then I can swap over to the next sequence whenever I like. When I do that, I have to do that exactly on the first beat, because otherwise, you know, it sounds odd because it doesn't cue. It immediately switches over, so you have to do it at the right time. And you need to do it early enough to make sure that the first bass of the chord can be heard. So I'll demonstrate that now. And there you have it. Now, of course, you know, you can if you could do the changing the sequences. You could try and do that with one hand. I do that sometimes. One option would be to use bank 7 and 8, because that is a wee bit closer to the memory button. But yeah, if you stretch your hand, you can actually press 1 and 2 quite easily enough, and then you have got your other hand free to play a lead or something like that. I'm not going to do that now, but just to show you that you can do that with one hand. So there you go. And of course you can play with all the other knobs that have not yet been used in the motion sequencing. And there you have it, a very simple two-part sequence, you know, recorded in real time on the Volca Keys with motion sequencing, integral bass, and the option to switch between the two sequences. Thank you for watching.